What is up, my peoples? Come here, girls. I was at a Dunkin' Donuts today, getting a cup of coffee and some ice cream. And this officer walks in, who I'll be honest, I don't recognize him at first. And he gives me a pound, and he's like, "How you doing?" And I was like, "I'm doing great," but I have no idea who this guy is. And then he clarifies that he's the officer that kind of that responded to the disability discrimination call. Come on, girls, drop up. So I was like, "Awesome, good to see you, man." And what's up, Epic Paul? And he says to me that after he responded to the call, he decided to research service dog laws because he says that he never knew about them, was never aware about them. And he told me that after he did some research, he realized how much in the right I was, which I was just like, yeah, I told you guys, like, I know the laws. There's people actually don't know the service dog laws, and I do, because you need to know them, right? So I'm just gonna, tell you guys what some of those laws are. But crazy part, his officer says to me, he goes, I gotta admit, Adam, he goes, considering how you were in the right, he goes, you actually were pretty calm. I go, I was. He goes, most people in your situation would have been a lot angry. He goes, so I got to say that, he goes, I could tell you're a good guy because of the way you composed yourself. So some people in the comments said that I have anger management issues in the video because I called the guy a piece of shit. I don't have anger management issues. That's not my thing. I really don't have anger management issues. So when it says, like, what? But you guys have to understand how, like, frustrating it is when without question you are totally in the right, and then these businesses are treating you like you're a piece of shit. It's weird. And of course you're going to be upset. I was upset, yes, but I don't need anger management classes anyway. So then another officer walked in, and he gave me a pound too, and I said to both the guys, I go, hey, you see the back of my car? Because in the back of my car, in the back window, it says Trump 2024. I said, you guys know I support it, back the blue. And the officer says to me, he goes, I wouldn't be talking to you if you didn't have that on the back of your car. So I was like, yeah, based. And he's a black guy, by the way. So he's a black officer, Trump supporter. So awesome dude. But so let me just tell you guys real quick some of the basic service dog laws that people don't know that they should know. Number one, the businesses cannot ask you for proof or documents or IDs. But for some reason, businesses have been told, most people at business think that they can ask that. They can't. There's only two questions that they legally can ask. Question one, is it a service dog? Question two, has a dog been trained to assist with a disability? That's it. They can't ask you what the disability is. They can't ask you what type of service dog it is. They can't ask you, show me your disability. They can't ask you to make the dog perform their task. All they could say is it a service dog, and has it been trained to assist with a disability? Now, it's almost a redundant question, the second one, because the answer is, if the answer is yes, it's a service dog, then that means it has been trained to assist with the disability. So there's no need to ask the second question, but it's just a sneaky way for them to kind of like double check and reinforce. So that's number one. Businesses cannot ask for proof. They cannot ask for anything like that. Now, the only time they can ask for proof is if your dog misbehaves. So let's say my dog starts barking at a customer, bites a customer, pisses or shits in the store. Then they can say, your dog is not acting like a service dog. We need documentation to prove it is. That's the only situation where they can actually ask for proof. All right. Now, the other thing, your service dogs does not have to have a service dog vest on. They don't have to have anything that says they're a service dog. And the reason why is because some people with disabilities, they don't want to draw attention to the fact they have disabilities. Even though the mere presence of a service dog in a restaurant or bar would, kind of show that you do have a disability. So there's a little hypocrisy there. And maybe they should change that law. But as the law currently states, you do not have to have a vest on your dog that it's a service dog. You can walk in with the dog wearing nothing on its body. It looks like a regular pet, but it could be a service dog. So that's the other thing. The third thing is service dogs are allowed in restaurants. They're allowed where food is eaten. However, Service dogs are not allowed where food is prepared or within sterile environments. So, for example, if I'm in the hospital getting an operation, dogs can't be there. But if I'm recovering in the recovery room, the dogs can be there. So there's like these little nuances, but it's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. Dogs are allowed in restaurants. Dogs are allowed in bars. Dogs are allowed in delis. Not an issue. And they're definitely allowed in bagel stores. So, just once again, all of this has reinforced that I was in the right, which I know I was, and the bagel store was in the wrong. And officers, I'm proud that they did a little bit of research and, realized that I was right. Let's see some comments. I saw someone commented saying, "Do you remember me from last night?" Hold on. Futures Past is a live on Long Island. Will never recommend that place to anyone I know. Yeah, I don't recommend it either. I mean, what they did is horrible. Now, the part that I enjoy though is if you go on YouTube and search Bagel Doc Freeport, my video is the first thing that shows up. Now, I don't know if that's the case for Google. I have to check after this stream is over, but I'll check. But I think that it's the same thing on Google as well. So that sucks for them. Hottie says, so cute. Your dogs are extremely well behaved. Yes, they are. Here they are right now, drinking their water out of their little bowl. Hi, babies. How are you? Oh, look at girls. Although I will say, guys, I did buy Raindrop a new leash which says service dog on it. So she's got a new service dog leash, which is nice. Check that out. I got it in pink and red. Okay, what else? Someone said, do I remember them from last night? I Am Siler says, new subber here. Just saw some of your content. Sweet. Yeah, there's a lot of videos from the 2020 election, which are probably at this point, I call those my classic videos. And a lot of those are really, really good, really entertaining. I mean, at the time I was new, but I had all this youthful YouTube energy when I was doing those videos. And I really focused on like interviewing hot chicks back then. So, I mean, I did that because it was like a way to get clicks and views. And when you're a new YouTuber, that's kind of what it's about. Now, I'm still shadow banned, and I need to start deploying those tactics again. But, people know what I'm about now. So I don't need to rely on, those cheap tricks as much. But at the end of the day, it does work on YouTube very, very well. I mean, you put a hot chick in your thumbnail, and the visibility is so much higher. Futures Past, I found you from your videos with Tara. Awesome. That's nice to hear. Futures Past, Raindrop is a Yorkie and Cloud is a Shih Tzu. Now, the biker on the bike says, how you doing, man? Remember me from yesterday night? Oh, yeah. I saw you when you saw me doing the video by 9/11, by the memorial. That's right. Yeah, you seem like a good kid. I ended up not doing a video because it was really hard to, I was trying to talk to people about 9/11 down by the memorial, and partially my fault. I didn't think about how awkward that could be for people. I really didn't think about that. I thought it'd be a great place where people would be like willing to speak about it, but I kind of misread the situation there. Most people did not want to talk. A lot of people were crying, so I just said, you know what? I nixed the video, and I did not film much. I mean, I did interview one girl, but it's not enough to make a video, so I'm not even going to post it. But I also did interview that same girl about being one of the few unvaccinated girls in New York. So that video is going to go live maybe later tonight or tomorrow. It's a short little video, but it's a good interaction because she is a chica guapa. I don't know if you'll be able to tell in the video because she's wearing a hat, baseball hat, which is kind of blocking her face, but she was a very beautiful girl, and I might be taking her out for sushi. That's what I told her sometime this week. We'll see. I don't even know if she's single, but I guess if she agrees to go out with me for sushi, then she's probably single, or at least she's open-minded. So I don't know. But I don't even know why. I don't want to say I'm wasting my time, to be honest, but at this point, I know what my future is in terms of what I want to end up with, right? So I really just feel like I'm wasting my time going on dates or spending any money on girls here because, and you guys, for my longtime subs, you guys already know this, but I plan on going to the Philippines and knocking up a Filipina in her 20s, like early 20s, and then having a kid in the Philippines overseas. and having a, maybe a partner or wife, whatever it is, overseas. Like that's my plan, because I want to get out of US. I want to be off the radar. I don't want my kid to be a tax slave. In the US, oh, wait, what happened? Who censored? Someone censored something? Don't, let me see. Sorry, I didn't mean to censor. I didn't see anything being censored. But anyway, yeah, my moderators know they don't censor anybody on my channel. Like, even if it's like, hate speech, insults, I don't really care. They could post whatever they want. Renzo, that guy Renzo that used to post on my channel, he's like sending me Cash App $1 just to send me a message, when he could just send me a message on Instagram saying that he's censored on my channel. Like, bro, I never censored you. So Renzo, if you're watching this, I don't know who censored you. I don't know. I'll check the platform later to see if you've been in like the, censored bucket. Islander. So I do want to experience true love. Like, I do want that. And I am kind of like making it sound not like that when I say I want to go to the Philippines and knock up a 20-year-old. That is, I do want to fall in love with somebody. I do want to have a connection. I do want to be attracted to the person. I want all that stuff. But then I also want to knock them up. Elmer Zavala. I don't delete stuff, man. I don't delete anything. Like, I leave all comments up. Now, you got to understand something. YouTube has their own censorship platform built within the YouTube system. So if you're writing certain things that YouTube doesn't like, then YouTube is also going to censor you. And then I have to go into this new folder. It's a folder on YouTube which says uncensor these comments. I don't go into that folder ever. I don't check that folder. If you ended up there with your comments, I don't even know if you're in there. But if there's a comment that makes it onto the page, I don't censor people. I literally had this guy, Nick, this unhinged, antisocial, awkward lunatic, who would say, like, when I got diagnosed with kidney failure, he was writing shit like karma. I didn't delete his comments. I left his comments. He has made fun of my disease numerous times. He's made fun of my illness numerous times, which I would never do to anybody because it's so wrong to do that. But I've left his comments up. And all I've said to him was, please stop commenting on my channel. That's all I've said. I don't re-engage. First of all, I don't even think I know what he looks like. He has a video on his channel from like 2009, and he's a weird looking dude. And he would never have the balls or the ability to have a channel like I do. Like, he could not turn his camera on and start talking like I'm doing right now, because he's just not mentally there to do that. He doesn't have those mental capabilities. And I'm not knocking him for that. This is tough for a lot of people. A lot of people don't realize you turn the camera on, put it in your face. Can you engage? Can you talk? Can you have a conversation? A lot of people can't. And I couldn't do this early on in YouTube. I felt so awkward doing this shit. But now, you've been doing this for 2 years. It's kind of like, whatever. But Elmer Zavala, back to the point. I don't censor people on my channel. And I've told my mods not to censor people on my channel. I find it to be very hypocritical when right-wingers who claim to want free speech censor people. That's what I find to be very hypocritical. If you're gonna claim to be a right winger, then you're gonna pretend to fight for free speech, then you should have that on your channel. So again, I don't delete people like Nick's comments. I just say back to them, you're crossing a line. Please don't comment on my page anymore. That's free speech versus free speech. So that's how I handle my stuff. Look, I've had death threats on YouTube. I've had death threats on live chats. I've had death threats through email. I've been cursed out. I've been insulted. I've had racist comments. I've had comments made fun of my illness. I cared in the beginning about all those things because when you're new, it is jarring to hear like these negative things being said about you to your face, like kind of to your face. It's really jarring, but what people don't realize is every time they gave me those comments, it made me a little bit stronger every time it happened, to the point where now I'm pretty immune to all comments. Like, insults don't really bother me. Death threats don't really bother me. Unless someone put a gun to my face, that would bother me. But like a death threat on YouTube is like, whatever. I don't really care. And YouTube, I might report a comment if I think it's dangerous, but reporting a comment is not anti-free speech, right? That's just saying this person might actually be a threat. And like the New York City subway posters say, if you see something, say something. Speaking of New York City, a woman just got raped on the subway platform. Like, that's fucking nuts. Apparently, some rapist, some thug, offered to help this 21-year-old woman from St. Louis, Missouri, a tourist. He offered her help, so he got on the train with her, rode the train a few stops, got off the subway with her, and then walked her down to like where the subway ends, and then it becomes like underground, and he just fucking raped her. Yo, like this is just crazy that this is happening. Like, I don't know what time of day it was. I got to find out. I got to double check. But the bottom line is like the subway's mostly well lit. There's cameras underground, and you guys can Google the news story. You guys could just check it out yourself. But some woman just got raped, and it's like that's so fucked up. Like New York City's fallen. First of all, I never take the subway. I drive into the city all the time because I'm living in Long Island now. So I drive to the city all the time, and I got my car in the city, which besides parking during the daytime, during the weekdays, having my car in New York City is fucking awesome because you just get anywhere you need to go so much faster. Now, that's not, the subway is faster within Manhattan, but if you're like getting out of Manhattan and going to Long Island or Queens, then yeah, nothing beats a car. I mean, I can get anywhere I need pretty quickly. And I got my Trump flag here, so if I get stuck in traffic, sometimes I'll wave my Trump flag as I drive. Am I going to come back to Florida? Yes. So I was looking for a job in New York, and I just don't think with dialysis schedule the way it is and the way it makes me feel some days, I don't think that I can actually have a full-time job again for the near future. So I'm probably going to move back down to Florida in the next 2 to 3 months. What's up, Ed? God bless Paint the Trump. Yo, Paint the Trump. We're going to talk about Jeff next, Paint the Trump. I got a lot of shit to say about that guy. I'm kidding. It's all good stuff. I love that guy. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to be probably move back down to Florida 2-3 months. I just have 2 things I got to do. Number 1, kidney transplant list. And number 2, I need to get the stomach dialysis installed so I can have more freedom and flexibility. I can travel again. And once I'm on the transplant list and once I have the stomach installed, then I'm going to be here through the midterms. And then I'm going to book a flight to the Philippines probably and go there for a few months. I just got to figure out how I can send my equipment over to the Philippines because I need to understand the schedule with dialysis, the new version of it. I need to make sure I have all my supplies sent there in advance. Or I need to talk to the Philippines, the hospitals there, and figure out if I can pick up my supplies from the Philippines directly. Now, the good news is my new dialysis that I'm going to be on, it is done at home. And it is a bag of dialysate, which gets pumped to my stomach, cleans my body, and then it gets pumped out of my stomach by the time I wake up. Now, that bag of dialysate is only $5 a bag, and that's the US price. So I'm wondering in the Philippines if it's like $1 or $2 per bag. If I just buy it there, that means my supplies are going to be $30 to $60 a month. At the high end, it'll be $150 a month, that's fucking nothing for a medical treatment. That's uninsured price. That's crazy cheap. So I'm really, I think that it is possible that I could stay in the Philippines for the first 3 months of 2023. So January, February, March. And really, the purpose is for me to explore the Philippines, meet women from all around the country, meet women from Manila, meet women from the islands, meet women from the villages, meet women from the countryside, to really understand what kind of woman in the Philippines I want to end up with. I did date a 22-year-old Filipino girl. She was half Filipino, half Japanese 5 years ago before I was a YouTuber. And, she was a very insecure, which I think is common with 22-year-old girls. But she was very close to a lot of the things that I'm looking for today. Meaning she was young, she was beautiful, she was traditional in terms of she would cook for me every day, which I loved. She would take care of me every day. She would massage me, watch my dogs. There were a few things about her I didn't like. Like, for example, she did work at this shady Japanese, so in Japan, they have these bars called kyabakuras. So what they are is basically businessmen go and they pay for bottles and sit with these girls, and they have just momentary companionship. Now, they can negotiate with the girl to do stuff outside the business. So in a lot of ways, some of these girls are escorts, some of them are not. And the girl that I was dating, she found like a kyabakura in Torrance, Los Angeles, because I was living in California at the time. In Torrance, which is a very big Asian population, and it was a Japanese bar. And as far as I knew, it was just like a kyabakura. Now, I don't really know if that's what it was because I never went. I never went to her business. I didn't want to get in there. But I did not like the fact that she worked there. That was the only knock on her. That, and she was insecure. So we ended up breaking up. And then a year later, she ended up getting married to some really small Brazilian guy. I mean, he was like 5'5", 5'6". But that's, I think, what she wanted. I think she wanted to get married young, and she did. And, you know, whatever. I'm happy for her. But now, besides those two glaring red flags, she had a lot of the attributes that I'm looking for today. So we'll go there and see what happens, hopefully in January. But I really got to start moving on this whole making a baby thing, because I'll be 40 next July. And, you know, this illness has really reminded me of my own mortality, that, you know, I could always theoretically just take a decline quickly at any point. I don't know. I mean, kidney failure is a terminal illness. People don't realize that. If I stopped dialysis, I'd be dead within a month, because the toxins in my body would build up, and then it would just, I'd fall asleep one day and never wake up. And that's basically what happens. So, you know, the fact is, I need to start thinking about making kids now, because even if, let's just pretend I only have 10 years left in my life. Let's just pretend. Because right now the survival rate of stomach dialysis is only 11% after 10 years. So you guys got to understand something. 1 in 10 people survive with stomach dialysis in 10 years. So I got to think about that. And if I am going to die in 10 years, which I don't want to die in 10 years, I want to die in 40, 50 years. But if I'm going to die in 10 years, I would at least like to, you know, make sure that my kid or my daughter, my son I could see them through the development years of their life, through their 10 years old. And then they could remember me, and they could learn and remember the lessons I taught them. You know, because if I wait too long, and let's say I'm 44 and I have a kid and I die at 45, my kid's not going to remember me. It's like, what kind of life was that? You know, that's just unfair to me, and it's unfair to my unborn child. So I got to think about this stuff now, guys. And while I do miss going to clubs, well, I don't fuck clubs, but I do miss going to like bars, lounges. I do miss, you know, we've gone over this on my channel before. I used to be a liberal. I used to sleep around a lot. And there was a lot of appeal with doing that. One night stand, sleeping around, being a man whore. I did enjoy that for many years of my life. And that's the way I operated and lived. And I would think that even if I was super healthy again, I would be attracted to that lifestyle of basically sin. But now that I've had this kind of reawakening, now that I have surrounded myself by more conservative people because of my political views, being a Trump supporter, I'm surrounded by conservatives. I'm surrounded by people of family, faith, religion, marriage, all that stuff. I just think that there's a greater purpose than fucking random bitches. And, you know, I mean, that's no offense to women. I'm just trying to put it in the expression that, like, you know, these chads use, whatever, these cool guys use, oh, I fuck random bitches. That's the kind of stuff that they say. That's not a life of purpose. That's like just a life of pleasure in the moment. It's really no different than just always masturbating, because it's just like all about pleasure, you know? And I think that now I realize that life should be more than that. It should be raising a children, raising the future generation, instilling good values, making sure that they have a better life, making sure that they're prepared to make the world better than they found it, right? So I want to start doing those things. And, you know, I'll be honest, this is something I've never spoke to you guys about before on my channel. So to the 47 of you watching, you're about to get some exclusive information about this disease, which no one's heard about on my channel before. But when you have kidney failure, people don't realize how much it messes up with your entire body. Okay. I was actually developing some sort of erectile dysfunction prior to being diagnosed with kidney failure. And the reason why that was happening is because the toxins in my blood that were building up were starting to affect all of my systems, including my penis, including my semen production, and including my sex drive, and including my attraction to women. That was the weirdest part. So, guys, don't worry, I wasn't turning gay or anything like that. But I was basically becoming almost asexual for a few months. It started probably around February, March, I noticed. When I would see women that I normally would stare at, like, just be attracted to, like, oh, damn, she's hot. And I just wasn't doing it anymore. I just would see a hot chick and I'd be like, eh. And then I would justify in my head why I wasn't into her. It was really weird. Like, it became this mental game because normally I'd look at the girl and be like, damn, she's beautiful. But in this state that I was in, I didn't realize I was just like, no interest at all. So bizarre. And as soon as they hit me up with dialysis, my first treatment in June, yeah, hottie, it was everything. Mineral, vitamins, toxins in my blood, lack of circulation, fluid retention, lack of hemoglobin. So I had fewer oxygen going everywhere, fewer minerals going everywhere. But as soon as they hit me up with my first dialysis treatment, let me tell you something. My sexual function returned. My semen production returned. My attraction to women. All of a sudden, I started noticing my nurses. I'm like, yo, I got a hot nurse today. And all of a sudden, I started noticing women again. So it's like my body just fucking healed from one dialysis treatment. And I really think it had to do with them sucking out all the toxins out of my sludge blood, my mud blood. That's what I think what it was. But that was wild. But now I'm back. I feel totally myself again. I am attracted to women again. I notice hot chicks now all the time. But my mission is greater than just sleeping around and banging broads. My mission is greater now. I want a family. I want kids. And that's the goal that I'm on right now. I have no STDs. I am absolutely clean. And now that I'm a pro-lifer, the last thing I need is I don't need to knock up some like one-night stand girl and then now I'm connected with her the rest of my life. Because I wouldn't want her to have an abortion. If I got a girl pregnant, I really would not want her to have an abortion. I would be like, all right, now this is it. I'll be honest, guys. Last year when I was living in Mexico, I went out with this girl who I don't think watches my channel. So I'm just going to tell you, what happened. And by the way, maybe it was multiple girls. We don't know. But anyway, I went out with this girl and, we went out. We got pretty drunk together. And after that, we went to the beach. We made love on the beach. And we did not use protection. And I was drunk and made a foolish decision, And the next day I woke up in a full-blown panic because I was like, I don't even really know this girl. I don't want to be freaking tied to this person the rest of my life. Because I'll be honest, I wasn't that attracted to her. It was just like, kind of like, Mexico, you're doing and she was a fellow tourist, like, oh, just having a good time. So I ran to the pharmacy and got her the morning after pill, Plan B, and I delivered it to her and made sure she took it in front of me. And that was that. But I don't want to have an experience like that again. I don't want to, get drunk till I'm, making stupid decisions and then I'm sleeping with girls without protection that I don't really have any interest in. There's no point of doing that because the risk is too great now that I'm pro-lifer. It's too great. So a lot of people say I'm matured in the way that I date now, and I really do feel like I'm matured. And I'm trying to make sure that by the time I get to the Philippines, and I am just a better version of myself in terms of my actions and my behaviors. So I think that if I behave, as I've been doing this whole year, most of it's been because of my disease. But now that I'm, able and physically bodied, as long as I behave now, I feel like I've overcome some of those sins. And now I'm ready to just kind of, I don't want to say the word settle down because I don't know how that's going to look for me, but, start a family. Now, next topic, paint the Trump. Let's talk about that guy. I do. Noah Bedi said, psych evaluate the girls because mental health matters. Exactly. Patterson, hang in there, friend. You will have a family and find a beautiful Filipino. Saul DePaul, I don't actually know my T level. I got to find out. I'm going to actually ask my doctors tomorrow to see if they could put a testosterone test in for me. So I'll find out. But let's talk about Paint the Trump, guys. I love Jeff so much. He is one of my inspirations when it comes to creating content and just being part of the MAGA movement in general. They just deleted his Facebook page. He's up to 2 strikes on YouTube. Next strike, he is gone. So If you want to support Break the Trump, you got to find him on Rumble. That's the best place to reach him at this point, because he's on the radar. He's on the radar of YouTube. He's on the radar of Facebook. They want him gone. So go support Break the Trump on Rumble, because they're close to kind of removing him, which is really, really unfortunate. And I do think I should wrap this stream by talking about 9/11 real quick. Today is the 21st anniversary. I went down to the memorial yesterday. You guys saw the photo on my community page. And, I will say, I was trying to interview people. I only got to interview one person, and it was this really cute girl who I'm supposed to take out this week. So in that regard, the video that I was going to film ended up working out for me. If I do see her, we'll see what happens. But going down there were people crying, tearing at the memorial. And these are people that were not even from the U.S. I saw a woman from Italy that were crying, hugging each other. I took a photo of them. That's the photo I put up. So people around the world are still, very, very affected by this, very impacted by this. I think that's a beautiful thing. And the one thing I'll take away from 9/11 was the unity that our world felt when that happened. Have whatever conspiracy theories you want about 9/11, who caused it, who did it. I think you guys all could assume what I believe based on, the way I just phrased that. But at the end of the day, 3,000 Americans, I think, 2,800, something like that. 3,000 Americans were killed that day. No matter who caused it, these were innocent bystanders. This was collateral damage to whoever caused these attacks. And, listening to the voicemails from people that were in the towers, listening to people who were on the airplanes that were making the phone calls. It's some of the most heartbreaking, terrifying stuff you'll hear. I remember there was an Asian flight attendant on one of the planes who, I'm forgetting her name, and that's really a disgrace on my part. But I believe she was Vietnamese. I believe she was. And there are people that celebrate her life today still, because the way she was composed, calm on the phone, knowing that she was minutes away from her death. And she just took control of the situation as much as she could. And that's, to me, I commend that, because I do think that if I were on the plane, I do think that if I were on a tower and I thought that I was minutes away from my death. Betty, yes, that's her name. Betty Ong. Spider Lily. Great job. I think Betty Ong was her name. O-N-G. She wasn't Vietnamese, I don't think. I don't know now. I think it was Betty Ong. But yeah, I mean, that's just, I think that I'd be in a ball, crying, hyperventilating, beyond panicked. I don't know what I would act like, but I don't think I'd be like, Betty Ong at all. So I commend her. Lisa Santiago said the idea that sex is only for reproduction is dumb. No, I agree with you. Remember, at least I was a liberal for 35 years. So, I do think sex is meant for a lot of purposes. I often said it was exercise. I often said it was to get to know somebody. I said that sex is the new handshake. And I do believe in all that stuff, but I do believe that you also need to prevent pregnancy. So you could have both thoughts. Sex is for more than reproduction and also prevent pregnancy, which ultimately prevents abortions. So the way I see that is, you can sleep around, you could use protections, you could use birth control pills, you could use contraceptions, you could do non-vaginal sex. There's a lot of ways to avoid pregnancy as an outcome. So I'm all for that kind of responsible sex, 100%. I'm still about that. And I would still, if a woman right now said, Adam, let's sleep together right now, sure, I would. Throw a condom on, or are you on the pill? You're on the pill? Great, let's go. No problem. But what's changed me now is I would not sleep with the girl without protection unless I knew that she was on some kind of birth control, because I don't want to expose myself to the risk of getting a girl pregnant. That's what it comes down to me. That's the issue we have in the society, is most people, especially pro-choicers, they just, because they believe in abortion, they just think, oh, if I get her pregnant, I can just abort the baby. That's my issue, because you're killing a human. Your irresponsibility or your lack of care to prevent a pregnancy in the first place, now results in you needing to kill a baby. That's my issue with it. So there should be two goals: prevent pregnancy, and then do whatever you want, as long as people are accountable, consensual, and of age. Then do whatever you want. I agree. You should have sex whatever you want. But if you're not in the pill, anal sex, oral sex, because the pull-out method, which I depended on since I was 18, the pull-out method is very effective. It only failed me once. The girl I got pregnant in 2017 only failed me once. And, I wanted her to have the baby, and she aborted it. And that, I lived with that pain for a very long time. But yet, the pull-out method is not what men should be depending on, or women. Men and women should say, we're on the pill, and we're okay. We could sleep without a condom on, or I'm not on the pill. And since I don't want to have a child with you or have a family with you, that's it. That's how it needs to go. So I'm going to call it responsible man-whoring. Some on the right could say that you aided in committing a murder by giving that girl a morning after pill. I don't think so. I mean, look, the morning after pill works within 72 hours. That's it. You take it and it prevents the pregnancy from ever taking. So I don't consider that to be murder. But again, that is my gray line. I got to admit, some people would, on the right, I agree, would be against that. I would like to live in a scenario where I never have to give a morning after pill or have an abortion ever again, which is what I just described. You sleep with the girl who's on the pill or has a condom on, and that's it. Then you don't have to worry about that stuff because you're being responsible. So I would like to live in a life for the rest of my life where I don't have to worry about morning after pill or abortion. Now, I understand the pill is 100%. And my also belief is if the woman still gets pregnant while on the pill, the morning after pill, or on the birth control pill, then that's a miracle baby. That baby has fought the odds from inside the womb. And that baby deserves to be born. That baby is going to be a fucking leader when it comes out of that womb. Because if it overcame the condom, the morning after pill, or the birth control pill, Lisa, I don't talk about my body count on the internet. But let's just say that when I tell people the number in real life, they always go, damn. Now, it is less than 1,000. I'll say that. It is less than 1,000. But you guys got to understand something. Like, I've traveled the world. Like, I've lived in countries where sex with... Like, you got to understand something. Most men, unless you're double digits, LOL, Lisa, LOL. We're well over triple digits. So most to have sex in America with a non-hooker or non-escort is a bit of a challenge unless you are super wealthy, super good looking, super jacked, man of status, man of power. Unless you're like the 1% of men, getting laid for 90% of men is not easy, especially by a hot chick. That's just the reality. Sure, you could go out and you could bang like a 5 or 6, but that's not something you write home about. You wouldn't set your watch to that, right? I'm talking about going out and banging some like girl who's like an 8, 9. I'm talking about the hotness scale, guys. Don't be fucking weird. I'm talking about 8 or 9 in the hotness scale, 8 or 9 out of 10. To sleep with an 8 or 9 is really tough when you're a dude in the U.S. now, unless you're that elite male. High value male. But if you go overseas to like Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Mexico, South America, Eastern Europe, right? Your desirability amongst women skyrockets because for a few reasons. Number one, you're American, so that has its own allure. But number two, people think that you're richer, and you are because the dollar's worth more. Number three, you're different. So being novel and different automatically makes you more attractive. Number four, they all absorb American music. They all absorb Hollywood. And so when you're from the U.S., it reminds them of these movies and we have the same voices and accents and culture of these movies. So there's a lot of appeal with that. Also, American men are built different physically than a lot of other countries because we have this big bodybuilding, fitness type of lifestyle. We also have a lot of obesity, but it goes to both extremes. We have very obese people on one side, you have very fit people on the other side. So, for example, when I'm walking around Vietnam, I'm one of the biggest men there. I'm not even kidding with you guys. People, I go there, they think I'm a fighter. They think I'm a UFC fighter. It's crazy. Same in Mexico, same in Thailand. I am significantly bigger. I'm probably the top 1% in size in Southeast Asia, in Japan, in Korea when I go there. Now, there is a bodybuilding community in Thailand. My friend Bear Williams is part of that. He's 6'5", 250, pure fucking muscle. This guy's he's an actor there, but he's a beast. That does exist, but it's not common. He actually got discovered because he was walking in a mall, and him being 6'5" and jacked, he got hired by an agent right there on the spot because his look was uncommon in Thailand. So you got to understand something. Like when I say my number is like really high in the not hundreds, but it's in the 3 digits. You got to understand something. Like I was living internationally where it was very easy to get laid. Like I could just go out in Thailand whenever I wanted, and know that I was going to get laid within a couple of hours. It was almost guaranteed. So, as a single dude living there with all the money I had in my pocket, and the crypto market was pumping back then, and the stock market was pumping back then. I was the high value man in Thailand. I was the elite in Thailand for all those reasons. So, my number is not that impressive when you put it into context of where I've lived, where I've been, and why men from America have an easier time when they go overseas. It's just very common. And that's why when you go to Thailand, you will see all the disgusting old men with like super hot young chicks, because it becomes an exchange. She wants financial stability. He wants youth and beauty. And that's actually what most men want. People don't realize that. I mean, a lot of women don't realize that, but that's what most men want. Most men don't really care if their wife is financially successful. As a matter of fact, most men are turned off by a woman who is too financially successful, too independent. It's the reality. Most men want to be the breadwinner. Most men. No, I did not say 900, Ayla Joy. I did not say 900. I did not say that number. I did not give a number, actually. I just said it's less than 1,000 and it's more than 100. But I never said it was 900. And that would be insane. That would be multiples more than I'm at now. So I'm giving you guys some hints what my number is. But no, it's not that close. But regardless, I personally don't judge myself for the way I used to live my life at all. And I don't judge, like when I meet a woman and she says to me she's been with 30 partners, I'm like, whatever, that was before me. Like I don't judge anyone for the number. It just depends on like how you compose yourself today and what you do now, and have you adapted or changed. And I've changed big time. I'll tell you guys right now, this year, and a lot of it has to do with my health problems, but I've been back now for the past, month physically for the most part. I have slept with the fewest women this year than I have since I was like 18. So, I've adapted. I've changed a lot in the past couple of years. Patterson says, am I still in touch with Tara? No, she's been in Europe. She's been in Europe for a couple of months, I think. But no, I'm not in touch with Tara. What happened to the hot chick from Costa Rica? She was smoking hot. So me and her are still really good friends. We're still really good friends. Her name was Andrea. We used to call her, what do we freaking call her? Reina del Sur, Queen of the South. And yeah, she's amazing. She's great. She's actually been calling me once a week, keep up with my health. And she will be back on the channel soon, guys. Reina del Sur will be back on the channel soon. Don't worry, you'll be seeing her again. Sal to Paul. No, I'm not loaded. I was loaded, I'd say, in 2021 when the crypto market was at its peak. That's when I was loaded. But it was very momentary because the market, I didn't sell in the market, and the market's crashed ever since. So I'm not loaded now, but there was about 36 hours where I'd say that I was loaded. When my bank account hit a certain point, I was like, not my bank account, my crypto, I was like, holy shit. Because it went parabolic. The entire crypto market went like this for like 36 hours. I mean, it was unbelievable how what my net worth was for a moment. But I'm not loaded now. No, I'm actually I'm not going to say I'm struggling now, because that's not the right word. I'm not struggling, guys. Like I've seen struggling. This is not struggling. But I would say that I have to be aware of what I spend. Let's just put it that way, because I don't have any income at all, and that wasn't an issue until the markets kind of crashed. Now I'm a little bit exposed because of that. But I'm just lucky that my insurance is really good. I'm really fucking lucky, guys, because I'll tell you the truth. I was uninsured for a couple of years when I was traveling the world, when I was overseas. And the reason why I did that was because I figured if I got sick or ill, I could just pay the prices in Thailand or Vietnam. So there was really not much exposure. Apparently, and I don't remember doing this, but sometime in 2021, I reapplied for my insurance. Don't remember when I did that, but apparently I did it. And when I had to come back to Florida from my when I was in Mexico, and they told you got to take an emergency flight back. When I got to Florida, I wasn't even sure if my insurance was still active. I really wasn't, because I just wasn't paying attention to my shit. So I submitted these insurance cards I had in my wallet from 2021, 2020, hoping like this when I submitted them that it was going to work. And it fucking worked. I was like, oh shit, thank God. And then my health insurance company called me and they were like, Adam, we're letting you know that, you're pre-approved for anything related to your disease, and we've covered everything so far to date. So I was like, God damn. So I just want to say I thank my past self for making sure I was insured. I don't remember doing that. I got lucky there, guys. I got lucky there. Now, Lisa said, so Lisa, there's two things you just said that I agree. One, I agree with. One, I disagree. I do think that we need to give fetuses personhood, because the U.S. is known for one thing, which is always extending personhood rights. We did it with slaves. We did it with black people. We did it with women. And I would think that you don't have an issue with any of those groups being given personhood rights. So if you don't have an issue with slaves, black people, or women getting personhood rights, then you shouldn't have an issue with babies and fetuses getting personhood rights. You should not have an issue with that. What word did I say? Someone said, bad word? You're better than that? Pete, what word did I say? I don't know what I just said. I said slaves, black people, and women. What's wrong? I don't understand what was wrong with that. Lisa, that's correct. We should be banning abortion. Now, the thing is, originally, everyone pretty much agreed that abortion should be allowed in the case of rape, incest. Because one thing you understand, Lisa, is abortion results in the killing of the baby, right? Abortion results in the killing of the baby. When you have an abortion, you're killing the baby. Now, a lot of leftists say, what about if the woman's life's at risk? Well, you don't have to kill the baby, but you could still remove the baby from the pregnancy, right? It's called a C-section. You could still save both lives. So in the case where the mother's life is truly at risk, remove the baby, keep the baby alive, and save the mother. Boom. But what happens is a lot of these abortionists, they say, no, kill the baby and then save the mother. And that doesn't make much sense. It doesn't have to be that way. Now, the one example, which is called an ectopic pregnancy, that's when the fetus grows inside the woman abnormally, and the pregnancy is actually not viable, and it can kill the mother. An ectopic pregnancy is not included in the need for abortion, okay? That's one of the examples that leftists use, but it's actually not correct. An ectopic pregnancy is a medical problem that needs to be solved by actually ending the pregnancy. And it's not it's not a choice, it's not an option. It has to be done. I met a girl that had an ectopic pregnancy. So that has nothing to do with the abortion argument. They're totally separate. And as a matter of fact, I think Planned Parenthood, the website, even clarified that ectopic pregnancies are not part of the abortion argument. So when you bring that up or say that, that's not included here. So originally, abortion was meant for those rare cases, save the mother's life, rape, and incest. But the left kept pushing and pushing and pushing until now it's Oh, just inconvenience. Oh, I'm just not ready. That's the issue. So I will say, I would love to compromise. I would love to compromise with you guys and say, ban all abortions with the exception of mother's life's in jeopardy, but you'd still try to save the baby, not kill the baby. Rape and incest. I would have been willing to compromise on that. I would have, but not anymore. Not anymore. Because it's never going to be enough for you guys. You want the right to kill babies until they're born. That's what you guys want. That's what you guys want. The Constitution does not mention anything about abortion. And abortion is not a constitutional right, which is so funny to me whenever they were calling it abortion to Constitution. The word abortion is not listed in the Constitution. So that is nothing. It's not a constitutional right. It's not at all. And yeah, we should outlaw it. 100% we should outlaw abortion across the board, with the only exception being if the mother's life is in danger. But in that case, you would still try to save the baby's life. You wouldn't have to kill the baby. So in that case, it's not really an abortion. It's just it's a termination of the pregnancy, not an abortion. The other thing you said, which I actually agree with, was universal health care. I do agree with that. I think that, if we can give $80 billion to Ukraine, then we should have universal health care. I do agree with that. I am a fan of that. Now, I'm also a fan of private insurance, which probably gets you better health care or more exclusive health care. But I think that we should have some level of quality health care. Now, we already do have universal health care for the low income people in our country. If you are low income in America, we have great insurance for those people. I have friends that are low income. They pay $1 a month. They have full insurance. So we already have universal health care it's not universal health care. It's low income health care for the underprivileged or underpoverished. So that's great. Now, do I think we need universal health care for the elite, for the wealthy? Not necessarily. I think if someone's making $500,000 a year or more, they can afford to put money into the system with insurance. They could. Well, that's Lisa. That's fine. That's capitalism, baby. That's capitalism, baby. So, yeah, that's what I think about that. Now, Lisa, who I know is very anti the right wing, says, if you had a daughter, you'd be okay with forcing her to give birth to a rape baby. I highly doubt that, because most conservatives don't care about an issue until it affects them. So here's the other thing. I would be for abortion if the girl was a minor and was raped and she was not of age and able to carry. I could see an argument made for that 100%. Now, from my understanding, what's the youngest a girl can get pregnant biologically? I think there was that story of that young girl that but I don't know if that was a true story or not. I hear mixed reviews about that story, but I could hear an argument for if the girl is a minor and she was raped and got pregnant. Well, that's like two strikes, right? Number one, raped, and number two, minor. So again, could make an argument for all these things, and I think that it is a very humane response to say that baby that child should be allowed to have an abortion. But the problem is you concede on that, and then you left to keep just changing the goalposts. It's what you guys do. No, it's not the principle. It's not the principle, Lisa. I understand that rape is horrible and rapists should be castrated chemically or physically, and they should be arrested and never allowed to sleep with a woman again or touch a woman again. But you don't erase the rape because you kill a baby. It doesn't make sense. Because a rape happened, I'm now allowed to murder a baby. Think about that. Let's put it this way. Let's say you get robbed. That's already pretty bad in itself. Now, because you got robbed, which is a crime, do you now have the right to go kill a random person on the street? That doesn't make any sense. You got robbed by a dude and then you kill a different person. That's essentially what happens. The rape is bad, but now you get to kill a random person because you got raped. Two wrongs don't make a right. It's the perfect example of two wrongs don't make a right. If she's raped and now she's pregnant, abortion. Adoption. Jesus, that was a bad slip. Adoption, motherhood. I mean, there's other choices. You know, there are a lot of babies that are humans that are born from rape that are the biggest pro-lifers. There's this Lisa. It's not called righting a wrong. Killing an unborn baby, a defenseless baby, is not righting a wrong. There's nothing right about killing a baby. Don't you understand that? You can't kill a baby because something else bad happened. Yes, Democrat Poop City, I do agree with that. I do think that if a man impregnates a woman, he needs to be responsible financially until that child is 18, without question. I know we have some laws about that, which is crazy because, like, you go to Thailand, for example, they don't have laws like this. There's so many dudes that get their... So the thing about Thailand is not most, that's not fair, but a lot of Thai women have babies when they're 16 or 17. They get knocked up by a local Thai guy from their village. And it's like, actually, it's a sad story, but it's kind of funny also. Most Thai women in Thailand who've experienced young pregnancy and then the man leaves, they tell their kids that their father died in a motorcycle accident. That's like the most common story. So you have all these kids across Thailand who think that their father died in a motorcycle accident because that's what the mothers tell their children so that they don't look for their father because their father's not involved in life. So, hey, calm down. Off. So, it's kind of sad, but it's also kind of funny. That's like the story that they use. But anyway, yeah, that's what happens in Thailand. We don't have that in America. We actually have some laws that protects the family. If he's in jail, he ain't got no money to pay child support. It ain't going to happen. So maybe there's... I don't really know the solution there because, like, you don't want to have a rapist walking around the streets again because then you'd be a Democrat city like Chicago or San Fran where these criminals get caught and released. So you don't want that to happen. But there's got to be a solution where he is responsible and liable financially for helping with that child. And if not, then it's tough because, like, you'd want the government to step in and fill in those gaps for the woman, right? You'd want the government to step up. But then that becomes the issue of moving towards socialism where the society is being forced to pay for other people within the country. So it is complicated. It is tricky. There's so much nuance here, but I'll give you guys a really good solution right now. Don't give Ukraine $80 billion. How about that? That's $80 billion we apparently had. Put that into this exact situation. Put that money towards children that are born to rape. I mean, there you go. That's a solution right there. Don't give Ukraine $80 billion. No, we need our military. You know, I was proud that Trump rebuilt the military because that prevented new wars. Trump's the first president in decades that started no new wars. So walk with a big fist, protect our borders, protect our country, makes sense. Sending $80 billion to Ukraine makes no sense. Makes no sense. But we do need a strong military. We do need a strong border. So I don't have an issue with funding the military. I do have an issue with funding other countries' wars. I find that to be insane and ridiculous. Look, I'll support the people of Ukraine. No problem. But did we vote on giving them $80 billion? Come on, that's insane. You know, I just talked to Renal Warrior on my channel. His name is Renal Warrior. And he just got his kidney transplant. And we were talking about how there's this company trying to build artificial kidneys. And how basically big pharma, dialysis centers are all doing whatever they can to block this technology from being developed. So this little company trying to build artificial kidneys is like getting blocked at every corner because kidney failure is a multi-billion-dollar industry for these companies. So it's like if we could earmark $1 billion out of the $80 billion we gave to Ukraine and put it towards this one little company, they'd have artificial kidneys right now. They would literally cure kidney failure within like a couple years because all the technology exists for this disease. So it's like, there you go. So there are a lot of causes that I now have that I have to deal with where I am pissed off, where it's like, why are we giving Ukraine $80 billion when we can give kidney we give this artificial kidney company 1 billion, 1/80th of it. But we're not doing that. We're not doing that. It's ridiculous. So I do have causes in my mind, in my life now, that I do think that we should be, shifting funds towards. And I just don't think 80 billion towards Ukraine I don't think that's useful spending at this point. I don't. Unless we're going to go there and get involved, we should not be spending American taxpayer dollars on other countries like this. We shouldn't. But the U.S. always does that. We always get involved in other people's wars. I mean, we did it with Vietnam. We're doing it now. We did it after 9/11. Again, you guys could assume my beliefs on that one. Let's see. Trying to read these chats. Ryan Fraser says, that's an interesting point. Ukraine is a victim of an invasion. If Putin is successful in Ukraine, he won't stop. Sooner or later, that would become a U.S. problem. That 80 billion might just stop that scenario. No guarantee. I don't know, man. If we really were concerned about that, we would probably want to be there. If we believe that it was going to keep growing into a bigger problem, then we should probably just send our troops there, with our technology and our tanks and our planes and our guns. But that would be World War III, and we don't want that. But this war it just seems to be endless. And it's really, really frustrating. Lisa says, you guys will lose if you run Trump. DeSantis better chance of trying to be done even years. No, we're not. We're not going to. No, Trump is going to win in 2024. I mean, everyone knows that. That's why they're trying to block him for money, because they know if he runs, he's going to win. And I love DeSantis, but no, it's got to be Trump. It's got to be Trump. Trump said he's going to fire 10,000s of government workers and replace them. We need that to happen. We need it to happen. We got to drain the swamp officially. We got to drain the swamp. And after what the government just did to Trump, raiding his home, we need Trump to come back and just continue where he left off. So there's no other choice. All right, guys, I got to hop off. It is been an hour. I was only supposed to hop out for like 15 minutes to talk about the police story. And here we are, an hour later, talking about abortion and wars. But this is what happens when you go live and, you have people like Lisa in the chat, these leftists who come in and try to bring up all these topics. And no, Trump's coming back because Republicans have outpaced Democrats in terms of registrations. There's a high level of Biden voter regret. There is no Biden enthusiasm. So yeah, no, it's Trump's coming back, and the people that are going to vote against him are going to be lower. People want lower gas prices. People want taxes back. People want inflation down. People are sick of wars. People are disappointed in Joe Biden. So it's not going to be the same as it was in 2020. Trump is not going to be pulling out more people voting against him. It's going to be an opposite now. He's going to be pulling in more people voting for him than ever before. Right now, the Hispanics are 1% Democrat, swinging Democrat. That's really bad. The Democrats used to be, they used to own the Hispanic vote. Now they're only up by 1%. Same for blacks. Trump already doubled the black vote last election. He's going to triple it by this one. So we're talking about, I think it went from 8% to 16%. I think he might get it up to 24% this election, 24, 25%. And if that's the case, if Trump can break the Hispanic vote 50-50 and get 25% black vote, it's over for the Democrats. It's over. It's over. It is over. Latinos are becoming more Republican and conservative because they're realizing the average Hispanic person in this country is conservative. They have conservative values. Family first, usually Catholic or Christian. They're conservative. So, Hispanics are waking up. And, you can watch my last video in New York. I spoke to a lot of Latinos. Almost all of them are leaning Trump, even if they don't think that he's the best for the country. They pick Trump over Biden because they're all waking up. They realize. And when it comes to, you got to understand something. The average Latino person in this country sends money overseas. You got to understand that. They send money overseas to their family, to their extended family. I don't, because I was adopted, so I don't have people in Mexico to send money to. I don't have to worry about supporting another family internationally, but a lot of Latinos do that. And so when gas goes up to $3, $4, when inflation goes up 10%, really it's like 20%. This is money out of their pocket that they can't send to their families and friends overseas. It impacts the Latinos more than the average American, than the average black family or the average white family. It does. So these people are going to be voting based on everyday issues that affect the pocketbook. Plus, their values are conservative. So, and even black people have, again, some black people have very conservative values. Some black people are very family oriented. They go to church. They have their you know, I see it all the time. There are a lot of parks here in Long Island where you'll see a lot of black family gatherings, barbecues and cookouts. And that's great. And I love that. So, you know, there are conservative sects everywhere, in all groups. And these people are realizing what's going on in the country. So I think Trump's coming back. I think Trump is inevitable. Lisa says I was on Dramatri's channel and they censored me, yet they cry about censorship. Exactly. I don't censor on my channel. I do not censor on my channel, Lisa. That's why I answer all of your questions. I don't ignore you. I leave all the angry comments on my page. I don't censor anybody. I want my channel to be free and open, even the hate speech, even the insults, the death threats. Bring them on. You know, I don't really care. And I have mods not to censor people. I tell my mods, don't censor anybody. But I just give out mods kind of like as a sign of respect. Because when I have people like JP and I have people like Devon, you know, these people have been on my channel now for well over a year, 2 years. They tune into most of my chats. They tune into most of my videos. They're always commenting. They're always engaged. They're my Facebook friends. So I give out the wrench more as a sign of respect so that you guys know that these are like the loyal OGs. But I don't give them wrenches to that moderate people. I don't need to be moderated. So, yeah, that's the update. All right, guys, I got to go to dinner. I got Italian food, the Italian side of my family right now. My family's mostly Italian, by the way. So we're getting Italian food tonight, which I'm excited about. I'm probably going to get like a chicken parmigiana. See, Lisa, I appreciate that. Even though we're on opposite sides of most issues, we could still get a, you know, nice spirited debate going on and a nice conversation. And I'm willing to talk about almost anything, you know. And I want you guys to kind of keep me honest. Like if my answers aren't good, tell me, because that means I got to go brush up on my debating skills, and I got to brush up on polishing on my debate skills. No, I'm in New York right now. I'm in Long Island right now, Strong Island. I'll be back in Florida probably by January. If not, I might go right to the Philippines for 3 months, January to March, and then come back in April, back to Florida. But I'm going to end up in Florida. My plan is, if the crypto market pumps big time like it did last year, I will liquidate some of my assets, and then I'll buy property in Florida so that I have a home base here. So that's the plan. It all comes down to crypto, guys. In the meantime, I'm just kind of like floating by and trying to survive, just like all of us are. Hey, thank you, Metopoly. I appreciate that. That's a great compliment. I really hope that I continue to grow. Obviously, I'm shadow banned. It's tough. But with the midterms, I'd like to add a couple thousand followers for the midterms. And, you know, so we can keep making a big impact. So if you guys can help my content out any way you can think of, push it out, tell a friend. That I really do appreciate, guys, because that's the only way I'm growing at this point. All right, guys, I'm out. See you guys tomorrow, sometime this